Hi, I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Glenn.
And we've been making music since the mid-90s. Back then we formed a band called Waves and Flames, which played post-grunge, alternative rock and hard rock. Just like bands like Creed, Collective Soul, Bush and Three Doors Down, I'm the guitarist and singer.
I'm the bassist.
And I'm the drummer.
Me and Mike knew each other since our elementary school days.
And then in college both of us met Glenn, and Glenn sooner afterwards had a crush on Pat's 1-year older sister, who's now his wife and mother of his 4 children.
And soon afterwards all of us discovered our love for music and realized all of us were able to perform a different instrument, and so it was very clear for us.
We were largely inspired by the early works of Smashing Pumpkins, Stiltskin and last but not least Collective Soul.
It was in December '95 that we got together and started making music. And less than a year later only, our first self-titled album, which contained 10 tracks, was out.
We were way quicker than many bands before us. It was a bit disappointing that we missed the charts, because we were on a small label, but now I think it was good. And that is where we're getting to the main point of this video. It is to prove that the music industry is anything but harmless. We can show this with historical facts.
We had a song called Kurt on our debut album, which was, as the name already says, dedicated to Kurt Cobain. It was the album's only song that Mike wrote.
Kurt's backgrounds, however, may shock you. He was a big fan of Anton LaVey, who himself was a huge fan of Aleister Crowley, the most likely biggest Satanist in history. Crowley was praised by people like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. Their occult roots are undeniable. A complete loss of morality.
I mean, why do we keep hurting others and only think about own best? Why do people whine about guns, but at the same time choose to sacrifice babies? Back to Kurt, there is no reason to doubt his talent, but sadly he had to pay a heavy price. The truth is, had we signed the big contract, they would have dictated us to.
I'm not sure if they really get to write the lyrics they want. I can testify that. I first started as a hip-hop producer. I eventually returned to producing rap, and now I'm doing several styles. But back to the main subject. It has been said about Kanye West that he sacrificed his own mother to get famous, which could be true. Of course, just my humble opinion, but it's not the only example. See Puff Daddy's success after Biggie's death.
The world today is getting more and more controlled. I voted for Trump in 2016, but now I realize that the word government is Latin for mind control. Also, do you realize that music today is getting dumber and the music video less and less talented? There always had been corruption, but it was never as bad as it is now.
You want to know which music we prefer? We eventually restored this band, but in the meantime we also created individual projects. I started getting into neoclassical metal.
It also must be noted that music is something that can manipulate us easily. Remember the scene of the Titanic where My Heart Will Go On is playing? Now guess what happens if you replace it with a ragtime song that played in the cinemas during the pre-war era? You wouldn't see it as a romantic scene anymore, trust me. I always loved grunge and metal and still enjoy it, but I also had needed a diet. It caused me to be an aggressive guy, and eventually I got more into classical and ambient.
I think the elite's biggest trick is to make us believe money solved our problems. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Which group has the highest suicide rates? Correct. Rich ones. That is why we decided to stay underground and to play for music, not for money. Yes, I do have 5 children, but also a job. What matters is that you raise your children right.
Which leads me to another, the final, but most important point. Morality gets ignored more and more. Of course, those lyrics already existed in the 60s, but look at what's going on today. Now even little children get to listen to sexual pop songs. Seriously. Does our youth already have to face that filth? The New World Order consists of 2 groups. Those who love to ban everything and create strange laws, but also those who hate everything that is conservative in any way. If you look at all those drag queens in our schools, do you think that is seriously a good example for our kids? What's next? Naked chicks. That's why public schools are bullshit.
I remember the attacks that Rapaport got only recently when he took his daughter to a virginity test.
I personally believe that the media brainwashes us to buy absolutely garbage music. As Mike already said, everything sounds the same. Even though that's not the biggest danger.
All we can say is that if you love music, then go try out the instruments that suit you, but make sure you don't try to make money out of it. Music is a way too precious gift.